I hope I make the 35-40 minutes that I had with you all worth spending here. Okay, I will ensure that I do that. Now, I'm going to talk about something which, can you hear me clearly behind? Yes. Absolutely clearly, right? Okay, so I'm going to talk about a subject that is very close to my heart. Okay, and it's a subject that I've been obsessed with ever since I was probably 16 or 17 years. How does somebody succeed in his work life? How does somebody do extremely well in his work life? Because success in your work life and success in your personal life could mean two different things altogether, right? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, it could mean two different things. But my obsession has always been, how does somebody do excellently well in his work life? How can you succeed? I had this obsession and question for a very, very simple reason. To start with, I wanted to succeed. I wanted to do really well in my career. That was number one. And the number two reason why this question was so close to my heart was that each one of us spend the bulk of our life. Okay, each one of us will spend the bulk of our awake time working. So if you knock off the hours that you sleep, probably 6 to 8 hours, and if you constitute the rest of the hours, you'll see that you're either traveling to work or at work for 80% of your work life. Okay, that makes sense, right? So doing well at your career is very important, because that's 80% of your life. If you don't do well in your career, that's like 80% of your life you've screwed up. Okay, now, part two. The guy that does extremely well at the workplace and becomes the CEO and makes probably a crore and a half as salaries, if not more, and the guy who remains more or less there spends the exact same amount of time in office. Are you clear? So the guy that goes to the very top and the guy that has a mediocre career, they have to work and they have to spend the same amount of time in office. So why the hell shouldn't somebody succeed at the workplace? So, like I was saying, we spend the bulk of our time working, and the person that has a great career and a person that doesn't have a great career, both these people will spend the same amount of time in office, the same amount of time away from their family. The guy who's going to have a mediocre career, the guy who's going to become a CEO. So why the hell shouldn't you become the CEO, right? There's no good reason. When you do well in your careers, it makes all stakeholders happy. When you do well in your career. So who are all these stakeholders? When you do well in your career, you don't need to write this down, guys. I'll tell you if you need to write anything down. Okay? So if you do well in your careers, all your stakeholders do very well. Which is you, your family, okay, your parents. You can provide better for them. If you do well in your careers, take them for better holidays. If you have a spouse, you can provide better for your spouse. In 10 years' time, you can provide better for your children. So your whole family is much better, well taken care of if you do well in your career. If you're not, you can't provide that well for them. Okay? Secondly, when you do well in your career, you benefit. When you do well in your career, your boss benefits. When you do well in your career, your company benefits. When you do well in your career and do your job well, even the country benefits. Okay? If you're one of those nationalists, even your country benefits, because you being productive is us winning the war against some other country, right? The economic war against some other country. So just about every stakeholder benefits when we do our work well, when we do well at the workplace. So there's no good reason to do it. Now, the thing is, the question is, do you need to be super intelligent in order to do well at the workplace? Do you need to be super intelligent? And the truth is, you don't. You don't even need to be super intelligent to go to the top or to have a successful career. You just need to do a few things, of which in this talk I will tell you what I believe from my experience, from studying this subject, from training close to 25,000 executives from the biggest companies in India. So the Deloitte, all the companies that you look up to, I've trained, and very, very senior people there. So Deloitte, Accenture, HDFC Bank, the blue chip companies of India, my company trains 30,000 of them every year. Okay, so my experience comes from dealing with these people every day. My experience comes from talking to the CEOs, from writing, reading about this particular subject. So my advice to you would be, take what I'm saying seriously, because it's the truth. Okay, it's the truth of the matter. Okay, so there are a few things of which I will tell you 3 or 4 today. Okay, good, makes sense, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, now the first thing, and now if anybody wants to write down, you can write down. The first and most important thing, if I could just tell you one thing as to what you need to do to succeed in your career, do well in your career, get the promotion before everybody else does. Okay, the first thing would be work hard on developing yourself. Okay, this is the number one thing. You could write it down if you want. Work hard on developing yourself. Now, listen carefully. The one quote that changed my life, changed my career, because I started off my career working very, very hard, but I didn't do that well. And then I realized this first point that I'm telling you, I realized that, and that changed the entire direction of my career. Okay, from just one quote. So first listen to the quote carefully, then if you want I'll make you write it down, but first listen to it very carefully. The quote is from a very famous American author and writer called Jim Rohn. Okay, if you haven't heard of Jim Rohn, how many of you have heard of Jim Rohn? Raise your right hand. Anybody heard? Okay, one person. Good. General awareness on a very high level, as I can see. Okay, so Jim Rohn is one of the most famous American writers and speakers, and he has this beautiful quote that says, listen carefully, it says, work harder on yourself than you would work on your job. If you work hard on your job, you may make a living, but if you work hard on yourself, you will make a fortune. Okay, I'll repeat. Work harder on yourself than you would work on your job. If you work hard on your job, you may make a living, but if you work hard on yourself, you will make a fortune. And this one idea changed the contours of my career. Because till then I would be putting 14, 15, 16 hours working. I was working very hard, but I never worked hard on myself. And after that I realized that, listen, I need to first work hard on myself. Because if I work hard on myself, both I will benefit and my company will benefit. Both these stakeholders benefit. But if I just work hard for my company, the company may benefit, I won't benefit at all. Okay, now my question to y'all is, and I want somebody to raise your hand and give me an answer. Okay, don't think of the right or wrong answer. Okay, just raise your hand and tell me what do you understand by work hard on yourself. Okay, good my friend. Give him a big round of applause to start with for being the first guy to put his hand up. Good.
So when you say work hard on yourself, it means developing your skill sets, be it the soft skills, be it your expertise in some technology.
Correct.
But getting the extra skill set to go ahead, right?
Okay, good. Well said. Yes, my friend.
Hi, my name is Deepa. Working hard on yourself is to understand your personal strengths, weaknesses, and understand and plan where your ambitions lie, so you can maximize where.
Okay, good. Smart lot of people. Yes, my friend.
My name is Krishna.
Yeah.
Working hard on yourself is analyzing your mistakes and trying to rectify them,
Okay.
and using your strengths to overcome your weaknesses.
Okay, good. So I won't, the answers that all of you have given are in the right direction. So what I would basically say is work hard on improving yourself. Okay, strength weaknesses is an important part, but overall, continuously working hard on improving yourself, continuously working hard on developing your skills, knowledge, and the right behaviors. Okay, why? Let me give you a very simple example of what this means, and if you understand these few things right today in this talk, it'll help you for a lifetime. It'll help you for the next 25 years of your life. Okay, and I can assure you, more or less, nobody can tell you this better than I can in India. Okay, because this is what I write about, over 100 columns for ET, for Business Today. So whatever I'm telling you, this is what you use for the next 20 years. So understand very well. So I have a driver whose name is Guru. Okay, and Guru has an extremely intelligent guy. His memory is twice as good as mine. But For whatever reason, when he was growing up, I think he failed in his 8th standard. Okay, he comes from a poor family. So his, I guess, family told him, अब बस हो गया, पढ़ाई वढ़ाई बस होगी, अब छोड़ दो कुछ नौकरी करो. Everybody understand Hindi here, right? Yes. Okay. So Guru, although he's a smart guy, on the career scale, if I have to put Guru, unfortunately Guru would be somewhere here. So Guru on the career scale would be somewhere here. Okay, now let's imagine that somebody got a BCom. Okay, so if somebody got a BCom, statistically somebody that got a BCom would have a much better chance of having a great career than Guru. Am I right? Yes or no? Yes. Now, what do I mean by statistically? All the things that I'm going to tell you is about a statistic probability. So which means you can have the odd high school dropout that becomes a billionaire. Okay, but statistically, if you look at BComs versus somebody that's flunked 8th standard, you will find that somebody that has a BCom has a much better chance of doing well in his career than a 8th standard fail. How many of you are clear? Raise your right hand if you're clear. Okay, good. Now, let's look at somebody that got a BCom plus knows how to speak and write the English language really well. So the person below him in a country like India, he's got a BCom, but he doesn't know how to speak or write the English language very well. The other person's got a BCom plus knows how to write and speak the English language really well. So statistically, don't you think this person would have a better chance than this person? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, good. Now, this could go on. So somebody that got a BCom plus knows how to speak the English language really well, plus say I'm just taking one skill, somebody that's extremely good at sales. Somebody that's extremely good at persuading people, at convincing people, at influencing people. So the guy below him, he knows how to speak and write very good English, has a BCom. The guy above him has those two things, plus he has the ability, he knows how to get a sales done. Don't you think statistically he would have a better chance? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Now, the last one. So somebody that's got a BCom, plus somebody that speaks the English language really well, plus somebody that knows how to do sales, plus somebody that knows how to lead teams very well. So the guy below him, अगर उसको खुद को बोले कि जाके sales कर, he's very very good at doing that. If he has to go do sales himself, but the guy above him is very good at doing sales himself, and even if he's given a team of 15 people, he can get sales done out of them, those 15 people. So statistically, you would find that this person would have a much better chance of doing well than any of these people. So the fundamental of your career is, the more developed your skills, knowledge and behaviors are, the better chances of you doing well in your career. Now, the logic behind this is again simple, and I'm going to give you a logical explanation for each one of the points that I'm going to come up with. Each one of us here are in a knowledge economy. We are knowledge workers. Am I right? Nobody is going to be doing stuff with their hands. Hopefully not. Okay? So, unlike an earlier time, probably hundreds of years back, when the most powerful person, probably thousands of years, the strongest guy by strength was the most dominant person. But today, in a knowledge economy, the guy who's developed his brain more, and by brain I just don't mean bookish knowledge, just develop your skills, knowledge and behaviors. The guy who's got that developed would have the best chance of doing well in your career. It is that simple. Okay, how many of you are clear so far? Raise your right hand so I know that you are in sync with what I'm saying. Okay, great. Now, whether it's a private or public organization, each and every organization is basically a pyramid, a triangle like this. Okay, now what's happening as you go up? What's happening as you go up? Somebody raise your hand and tell me. Yes, my friend? Number of people start reducing. So, yes. Authority increases, but on a most fundamental level, yeah, so on a most fundamental level, in every organization at this level, you'll have a lot of people. At this level, you'll have slightly fewer people. At this level, you'll have slightly fewer people. Here, fewer, here, fewer. Here, one. Who gets paid the most? That one. Okay, so the people that get paid the most will be in this particular area. And the truth of the matter is, not all of you are going to get there. Okay, unless you have an extremely rich dad and it's his CEO, his company, and he says, "Abhi beta ban ja." I'm talking about if you work for a professional company and if you have to get to the top. Very few of y'all are going to get there. But the people in this crowd, 10, 15 years down the line, if we meet again, the people in this crowd that will get here won't get here because they're more intelligent than the others. They'll get there because they did the 2 or 3 things that I'm going to talk about right. And that's why they would get it. It's that simple. Okay, it's not about more intelligence. Okay, so as you go up more, there are fewer and fewer positions, but the persons on top are the people that make the most amount of money and have the best careers. Now, let's just analyze why a CEO becomes a CEO. Understand that. Because this particular CEO is extremely good at a multitude of things. That's the right word. Okay, I'll give you notes, each one of the notes that you need to make. The CEO is good at a multitude of things. So what is multitude of things? Typically that particular CEO will have great leadership skills. So he'll know how to inspire, he'll know how to get people going. The CEO has to be a good communicator. If he's not a good communicator, well, he doesn't have a chance of being a CEO. So he'll have to be an effective communicator. 3, he'll be an extremely good presenter. Okay, 4, he'll have great business knowledge. Okay, 5, he'll know enough about numbers to at least talk to the CFO. Am I right? If he doesn't understand numbers at all, he can't become CEO. So he needs to have at least a certain amount of skills as far as dealing with numbers are concerned. So he needs to know finance enough. If he's in a CEO today, he needs to know at least enough about IT, technology. He needs to have knowledge about it. He may not be an expert at it. He cannot become an expert at technology, an expert at finance, an expert at HR, but at least he needs to have knowledge enough to take decisions. Okay? So he'll need to know about IT. He'll have to be a very good decision maker. He'll have to be somebody that's very good at influencing people, and I could go on and on and on and on. So he'll have to be somebody that's extremely positive in his approach towards stuff. He'll have to be somebody that's extremely relentless. You know what relentless means, right? Persistent and relentless. So he'll have to have all those behaviors on the other side. But he becomes the CEO because he has a multitude of the right skills, knowledge and behavior. That's why he becomes CEO. Okay? How many of you are clear so far? Okay? Now, if for those of you, I see that a lot of you want to make notes, so I'll tell you exactly what notes to make. The first point to make from this particular talk so far, if you'll want to make it, the first point, write down, we spend the bulk of our lives working. We spend the bulk of our time working, bulk of our awake time working. Number 2, the people that make it to the top and the people that have average careers spend the same amount of time in office. The next point you can write down, work hard on developing yourself. Okay, the next point you can write down, the higher up you go, the fewer positions there are, the more the need to develop yourself. No problem. And the next point you can write, to do well in your careers, you need a multitude of right skills, comma, knowledge, comma, right behaviors. Okay, now listen carefully. How many people are from finance specialization or want to take the finance specialization going ahead? Okay, cool, very good. Raise your hands again, all those that want to take finance. Okay, I'll take these two gentlemen. What's your name, my friend?
My name is Rahul Bajaj.
Rahul Bajaj.
Yes, sir.
क्या भाई साहब, बहुत अच्छा नाम चुन लिया आपने. पेरेंट्स से चुना, बहुत ही अच्छा नाम है. राहुल बजाज, बैठ मेरे भाई. I can imagine how much you got dragged in school and college with that name. No, everybody must have been singing Bajaj, 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 Bajaj. हमारा बजाज, हमारा बजाज. मैं कॉलेज में तो यही बोलता. बुलंद भारत की हमारा बजाज. हाँ? You all made a video? Excellent. आपका नाम क्या है मेरे भाई? आप मुंजलो. भटनागर. आपका ठीक है. राघव भटनागर. Okay. Now, both of them want to take finance. Both of them pass out next year. Flying colors. Okay, next year. Now, Rahul Bajaj is extremely good at finance. Wow, superb. I don't know whether he is, but let's presume. Okay, that he's very, very good with numbers. Superb. My friend Raghav on the other side is not as good as him as far as numbers are concerned. Okay, so he is not as good as him as numbers, so this guy is better than this guy. However, Rahul is extremely poor with his communication skills. Okay, Rahul is very bad when it comes to presenting himself. Okay, Rahul is extremely low when it comes to his self-confidence. Okay, Rahul is extremely poor when it comes to his ability to convince people. Okay, or persuade people. Now, Raghav on the other side, he may not be as good as him in numbers, which is that core domain, but he's an extremely good communicator. He's an extremely good presenter. I'm just taking a few of the things. He's extremely good, he's an extremely positive and persistent. वो हार नहीं मानता कभी भी. Okay, and he's a very confident person. So, this is the truth. Statistically, this person will have a much better career than this person. But this guy will wonder all his life, saying, "अबे numbers में तो इससे MBA में मैं अच्छा था. I was better than him, yeah, in the class, as far as finance is concerned. How the hell did he make it to the top when I am still here?" And then you will start talking nonsense like people do. अबे उसका luck बहुत अच्छा है. Okay? Then you will say, अरे politics बे, होगा कुछ जैक इसका. Okay? Then you will say, यार चाटा होगा इसने किसी का. था भी वैसे भी कॉलेज में भी वही करता था. You get my point, right, of what I'm trying to say? So, he will not realize that the reason why he's not doing well, it's not just enough to be good at numbers. Numbers is a prerequisite. You need to know your stuff as far as finance, but you need to be good at a multitude of different things in order to make progress. If that is not the case, well, you're doomed. Okay, and the beauty is, each one of these skills are completely in your hand, whether you need to develop them or not. Are you clear what I'm trying to say? They're completely in your hand. That's why you need to work hard on it. Okay, good. Any questions so far? Yeah.
So my name is Sumit. And sir, I want to ask that we have been talking about right skills, knowledge and behavior. What all things come under the domain of right behavior?
All right, good. Give him a big round of applause for a very, very nice question. So at the end of each one of my points, I'll stop and I'll ask you to put in questions right there, because if we wait till the end, you may forget your questions. Good. A wide area of what you need to do. But let me share, that was the next point that I wanted to share with you. What are the areas in which you need to develop yourself? Okay. So I would say 5 things that you need to continuously develop yourself on. The first of those 5 things are your core business skills. And unfortunately, in business school, we don't give enough importance or attention to these things. Your core business skills. Okay, now what are these core business skills? Your ability to communicate well. If I have to tell you one skill that you need to develop, irrespective of which domain you choose, I'd say choose communication skills and become a master at communication. So that is one of your core business skills. Then your ability to manage your time very well, your ability to work in a team very well, your ability to take better decisions, your ability to influence people, your ability to negotiate well. So these are your core business skills that are required. Irrespective of what job you do, you'll always need this. How many of you are clear as to what I'm trying to say? Okay, and if a lot of you want to get started on one particular one, I would say get started on reading up on the topic of how do you communicate well, get started reading on the subject of how do you take better decisions, and get started reading on how do you manage your time well. Okay, so start these 3 if you all want to know what to do. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing that you need to develop is your core domain knowledge. Now, what do I mean by core domain knowledge? This is not just now, but even after you enter the workforce. If you are in finance, well, you need to know that subject better than anybody else would know it, because you're not just competing against these people here, you're competing against everybody all over. Okay, so when I first started off my career, I used to be a brand manager at L'Oreal. That's where I went from college. So as far as brand management is concerned, I should have, from the day I joined the company, I should have become an expert at that. I should have read more about it, thought more about it, kept myself abreast about it. So, or created a lot of ideas. So your core, whatever work that you're doing, you need to be an expert at that. So if you're in IT, ensure that you become an expert at that particular thing. If you're in marketing, become an expert at that particular thing. Why? Because if I go back to this, right? Now look at this. Raise your hand, all those that want to be in finance again. Raise your hand. Okay, good. What's your name, my friend?
My name is Paras.
Paras. Pharmaceutical?
No.
Okay. So Paras is here. Finance guy. He wants to be in finance. Now Paras is, this is your core domain knowledge. Paras's core domain knowledge with numbers is so weak. So then, even if he's a good communicator, it won't matter. Are you clear? So because the basic job for which he's there in the company, he doesn't know that job at all. So then even if you're good at all the other things, you won't go to the top. Okay? So the second thing, that whatever job you get over there, if you're in HR, become an expert at HR, that particular thing, more than anybody else. Do all projects connected to that so that you have more and more exposures in that particular thing. So become an expert there. Now, the third thing is, develop the right behaviors, the right attitude, and the right thinking. Now, what do I mean by the right behaviors? There are a tremendous amount of right behaviors. Okay, and the more you read, and I can recommend books for you to read, the more you realize what those right behaviors are. But if I take, say, these 2 gentlemen, any one of you are petting persons here, and this guy is somebody that is extremely persistent. Persistent का मतलब है ये हार नहीं मानता. Once a task is given to him, he'll get it done, irrespective of what happens. And this particular person, his behavior is to give up. Any small problem comes there itself, he starts crying. If you are a betting person and if you just knew this one fact about them, who would you put your money on? This guy, right? Okay, now, if I take these two gentlemen, and this particular gentleman is extremely positive in his outlook to stuff, and this particular gentleman is extremely negative, his attitude. If you are a betting person, who would you put your money on? This person, right? The guy who's positive. If you are developing those right behaviors, and the list is long. I've just mentioned two, but the list is long in terms of what you need to do. The fourth part is your general awareness. You need to develop your general awareness. Why do you need to develop your general awareness? Because a lot of you all, and I can already see it from your faces, a lot of you all are scared. This is the look on a lot of your faces. मुझसे तो कुछ नहीं पूछेगा ये. He won't ask me anything, no? He won't come close to me, no? This guy. Okay, and if you think why are you so scared? Because you've not developed yourself. You're scared because you've not developed probably your ability to communicate well. That's why you're scared. You're scared because you say, answer nahi aaya to. You're scared because you know admission to mil gaya, par main janta kuch nahi hu life mein. मैं कुछ नहीं जानता, मुझे कुछ नहीं जानता, मैं guarantee. Okay, so that's why you start becoming scared as a person. Okay, so we were talking about right attitude, right self-confidence. What's somebody who's not? If you find somebody that's extremely self-confident, and if you find somebody that's not who would you put your money on? So your general awareness, so that you can relate whatever you're doing to the world, so that you can have conversations with people. And in India, people's general awareness is abysmal. Abysmal. You know what that means, right? Extremely poor. Most people in India, when I do corporate session, these 30,000 people that we train, if I ask them, do you know who Steve Jobs is? They don't know. If you ask them, do you know who Jack Welch is? They don't know. Because their general awareness is poor, so then their confidence is low. Again, they cannot make progress. How many of you are clear on what I'm trying to say? Okay? And the next thing where you need to develop yourself from here on, after this, is your formal courses and education. Formal courses and education. Why? Because today, I was having a word with your friend. What's your name, my friend? Vedana. So I was having a word with him and I was telling him that today you have access to the world's information. In terms of Coursera, you have access to all these things. So if you go and keep getting these courses and improving yourself, your resume in the end becomes much stronger than somebody else's, which gets you a foot into the door. Okay? And you don't just stop when you finish college. Through the rest of your career, you keep doing this so that your resume, your CV becomes stronger and stronger, your mind becomes stronger and stronger, and that opens up all the opportunities that need to be about. So these are the broad 5 areas where you need to develop yourself. Okay, and within each of these, like I said, there are tons of stuff which is there. But if you want to start off here, communication, decision making, time, you could start off with these subjects. As far as your core domain knowledge, you know what that means. Become an expert at what you've chosen. The next thing, have the right behaviors, knowledge, thinking, that. Improve your general awareness. And the 5th thing, continuously do courses that will improve you. Okay, good. How many of you are clear so far? Any other questions of what we've discussed till right now? Yeah.
My name is Ishwar.
Yeah.
So you are in short trying to tell that perhaps you should be a jack of all trades.
I wouldn't even, jack of all trades is kind of has a negative connotation, right? Yes. Okay. This is not about being jack. Will you call the CEO jack of all trades? I don't think you will call him that. These are just core things that are required. Okay, but if you'd like to call it that, yeah, well you could, because it's the reality of what is required. Okay, good. Anything else? Anyone else? Now, listen to the next part. Developing your mind is like developing your body. Listen carefully. Developing your mind is like developing your body. So, if anybody wants to have an extremely good body and they say, yaar, main na gym mein एक दिन जाऊंगा महीने के, one day. But that one day that I go to the gym, no, I'll work out 8 hours. But I'll go just one day to the gym in a month. Do you think you'll have a good body? If somebody says, मैंने सुना ना apple a day keeps a doctor away. फिर वरना मैं एक दिन पे 30 खाऊंगा apple. I'll eat 30 apples on one day and I'll finish the quota. It doesn't work, right? So some things in life have to be done every day. Developing your body and developing your mind is the same thing. You need to take an everyday effort towards doing it, towards developing yourself. And this you will specially forget once you are out of your business school, because right now all that you are doing is trying to develop yourself. But you will forget this as soon as you get out of business school. Now, listen carefully. There's another beautiful quote that says, success is nothing but a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is nothing but a few errors of judgment repeated every day. It is the cumulative weight of these daily disciplines or these daily errors of judgment that make or break a career. Okay, I'll repeat. Success is nothing but a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is nothing but a few errors of judgment repeated every day. It is the cumulative weight of these daily disciplines or these daily errors of judgment that make or break a career. Okay, now let me share what this means. Understand this thing, it will change your life. So general awareness. So I would say, what is general awareness for you? Start reading Economic Times, Business Today. It was the same thing that was told to me 12 years back. Start reading all these magazines. Now, do you know what people in my batch used to do? The idiots in my batch. Okay? जब प्लेसमेंट के एक दिन पहले ना, अबे अब पढ़ते इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स, अब मनोरमा पढ़ते हैं, एक दिन पहले प्लेसमेंट. Because somebody like me, daily discipline. So when I read Economic Times for 2 years every day, when I read those magazines every day for 2 years, I didn't have to read Manorama 1 hour before my interview, because उससे कुछ नहीं होगा. It is the cumulative weight of the daily disciplines that make or break a career. Are you clear? How many of you are clear? Now, why do we not read Economic Times? Because if you don't read Economic Times today, कल तो college से निकल, they won't remove you, tomorrow from college. सिर्फ आज छोड़ दे, कल करते हैं. If you don't go to the gym, tomorrow you are not going to die, na? If you smoke another cigarette today, tomorrow you won't die. So you make that same error of judgment again. A few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is nothing but a few errors of judgment repeated every day. It is that cumulative weight that makes or breaks a career. Now, done? What's your name? The lady in the grey suit? Yeah, you. So she said something on the lines earlier that strengths and weaknesses. Okay? Now, if somebody sitting here is extremely poor at communicating, which area should he start developing? It's common sense. If somebody is extremely poor at presenting, you know the areas. If somebody's general awareness is very poor, वो भी बोल रहे हैं यार स्टीव जॉब्स है कौन ये? Maybe that's an area to start on. So that's where your strengths and weaknesses come into the picture. Once you know that, based on that you start developing what you need to do. Okay? So this is, I told you I'll tell you 3 or 4 points. This is point number 1. Start developing yourself. Okay? And obsess about it. There's another very nice quote that says, formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. So your formal education will get you a foot in the door. How you teach yourself after that will make or break. Okay, so this is my first part. The second part of what you need to do. Are you clear on this part so far? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, so I hope you all take the subject of self-development very seriously from here on. Okay, now, just for example, self-development is also the live projects that you do. Self-development is all those things put together. If you're part of some team, that's a part of your self-development. So it's not just reading. A lot of those things end up developing you. Okay. So the second thing that I would say is extremely important to do well in your career is to believe in yourself. Okay. So you could put that down as your second part of what you need. First part was developing yourself. The second part is believing in yourself. So my question to one of y'all is, raise your hand and try to give an answer. Why is it so important for you to believe in yourself? Okay, yes, my friend.
Nobody else is going to do that for you.
Nobody else is going to do that for you. Good. Anybody else? Why is it so critical to believe in yourself? Come on, let's get more answers. Okay, yes, my friend.
Unless and until we believe in ourselves, we won't be able to succeed in the thing that we are trying to do. That is, if we want to develop a skill, we won't be able to do it completely.
Okay, good. Anybody else? Come on, I need a better answer. Yeah.
Yes, sir. If we are not able to believe in ourselves, we won't be able to fight failures. Because then we would get hold back by the setbacks we are facing, the challenges we face.
You'll hold back by that. Okay, good. Yes. Anybody else? Yes, my friend.
My name is Shuman. If I don't believe in myself, nobody else is going to be convinced at what I am.
Correct. Good. Give all of you a big round of applause. Very, very good. Thank you for that. I'm not coming to more people. But very simply, like somebody said, if you don't believe in yourself, don't expect your boss to believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, don't expect your customer to believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, don't expect your company to believe in you. Are you clear what I'm trying to say? So at the most fundamental level, you need to first believe in yourself. And once that happens, then other important, because self-belief manifests, remember this, self-belief manifests itself into self-confidence. Okay? It manifests, a cricket team is chasing a score. And it's a big, say a semi-final or something like that. You will find that even if the score is very small, they manage to goof up. We've seen this many times in the past, no? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, and if you remember Indian team 10-12 years back, they were very low on self-confidence till Ganguly came in as a leader and really made them more and more confident, and then Dhoni. So they used to be very low on self-confidence, always scared while batting. So because they were so scared while batting, a good performance didn't come out. Now, currently Virat Kohli is not doing very well, okay? But if you otherwise see Virat Kohli, you see how he comes on the field. And that's why if you look statistically, he's got the best record. So even if a team makes 400 runs, तुम विराट कोहली को आते देखो वहां से, वो आएगा ऐसे तोड़ दूंगा मैं तुम लोगों को, ऐसे मतलब आता है कि नहीं वैसे? You watch his body language, he'll come like that and he'll say, listen, you made 400, now I'll make 401 and show you. And he's got the best record chasing, even better than Tendulkar, more centuries. Because he believes that he can, irrespective of the target that's set. And automatically then the numbers, ऐसे नहीं कि out नहीं होता. Okay? Also, if you see in cricket, for those of you who watch cricket, if a batsman currently is not doing well, his confidence is low, he continues not doing well then. Because he can't get out of that thing where he's low on confidence. Okay? That's why they say when you're batting well, please make as many runs as possible, because you don't know what will happen if you lose form. Your confidence will dip and that'll be the end of it. So even the best professionals across, whether in cricket or otherwise, are the ones that are extremely self-confident, have a great amount of self-belief. Okay? Henry Ford, I'm sure you'll have heard of Henry Ford, said, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are right. What a beautiful quote, right? Whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you are right. So if you believe you can't also, you'll be right about it. If you believe you can also, you'll be right about it. Okay? So having that self-belief in yourself, self-confidence is very important. Now, your second point again relates to the first point. So the more developed you are, the more self-confident you will be. The more developed you are, the more self-confident, and you'll see this in a lot of your colleagues. who are so-called the smart ones, who a lot of y'all won't like. You will see that the reason why they're confident is because they've developed themselves. And the people that are scared have not. So these 2 points are closely related to each other. Okay? So, listen carefully. Coco Chanel had this very nice quote that said, I don't care what you think about me, I don't even think about you. Nice quote on confidence, right? I don't care what you think about me, I don't even think about you. Okay? There's another beautiful saying that goes, a tiger doesn't lose sleep over the opinion of sheep. So first become a tiger. When you are a tiger, which in today's is not strength, is strength of this, strength of abilities. When you are a tiger, you will be confident. Then you won't care about what people think about you. Okay? So both these particular points are closely connected. How many of you are clear on what I mean by have the self-belief, which translates into self-confidence, which in turn will determine your performance? Any questions on self-belief and self-confidence? Raise your hand and tell me. Yeah.
My name is Prabha. The difference between self-belief, self-confidence and arrogance is a very fine line.
Correct.
What is it?
Yeah, very good question. Sit down, my friend. Unfortunately, you cannot quantify it, right? So I can't tell you, यार मेरे भाई तुझे ना एक 100 किलो का self confidence चाहिए, 110 होगा तो arrogance. I can't quantify it like that. Okay? Now, why shouldn't you be arrogant? There's a very simple reason. Because if you are arrogant, people won't like you. And if people don't like you, you cannot make progress in your career. A lot of people don't like you, you won't make progress in any organization because they'll keep trying to pull you down. Okay? And 2, arrogance shows stupidity. Do you know why it shows stupidity? Because knowledge is so much and at all times we know such little. And if you're arrogant about that little knowledge that you have, you're stupid. It stops you from learning. Okay? So it's not a question, it's more a point. Have self-confidence, self-belief, but let that not translate into arrogance. But I can't give you a quantified term, 100 kgs, 110 kgs, and that will be the result. But it's a good thought. Very good thought. Good. Any other question on self-belief, self-confidence? Okay, now, you will see this, forget when you join. When your come placement, since all of you are so worried about that, come placement, your recruiter can see this in your eyes. Just by the way. This girl, what's your name? Okay, so if I have to put my money on somebody, I'll put my money on her to do well in her career. Because I can tell from the way she looks, given my experience of dealing with people, that she's confident. She knows stuff. So your recruiter, the people that come, they look into your eyes and they'll tell, "Tum kahan pe ho, boss?" Kafi hai. They'll see whether you believe it. And if you're only scared during that interview like that, nahi yaar, ye khud ko recruit nahi karta. He wouldn't recruit himself. Why the hell should I recruit him? That's the logic. Okay? How many of you are clear on point number 2? Raise your right hand if you're clear. Okay? Now, those who think they can. Those who think they can't. Keep this thing in mind. Okay? Now, the third point, if I can go on, the third point I would share is, write it down and then I'll talk about it. So the third large point that's important is, take 100% responsibility. Take 100% responsibility for your actions and results. Full stop. Look inwards. Look inwards. Full stop. You can either blame or get better. Okay, so just before a nice thought came to my mind. You were asking me, right, what are the right behaviors? before I get to this point. Being sincere, being disciplined, isn't that a great behavior to have? Okay? Now, I'm not joking. There'll be a lot of you all, you can tell from, I interact with that are like this during this. I'm saying the same thing, no? I'm saying the same. But there are some people here that are like that. And there are some people. Now, you look at what will happen statistically. All of you all spent 2 hours here, but a few of you all extracted the most out of those 2 hours. And the others, the extra smart ones here, basically the nikamme. They are, अबे छोड़ना, छोड़, इससे थोड़ी कुछ होता है. So they don't extract anything. How many of you have watched Rang De Basanti? A lot of you. My favorite movie. I watched that so many times. So if you remember that foreigner asks Amir Khan, why haven't you gone out of college? Why are you still in Delhi University? So he says, यहाँ पे मेरी कोई औकात है. अगर मैं बाहर रियल दुनिया में जाऊंगा ना, तो कोई मुझे देखेगा भी नहीं. पर वो बोलता है, डीजे यहाँ पे हीरो है. A lot of the people that are heroes in college, the extra smart ones, will be here. Okay? So Bill Gates had said this very nice. He said, be kind to the nerds because one day they'll be your bosses. Be kind to the nerds because one day they'll be your bosses. So the nikamme here, they'll be heroes in college. The party, daru. अबे मैं भी था ना निकम्मा, मुझे मालूम है ना. ठीक है, मुझे भी मालूम है, मैं सब कुछ ये बोल रहा हूँ. I can relate to you all because I've been there what? A few years back. So hero. They laugh at all the people that are serious, that want to. क्या sneak out मारा बे? They want to be hero in all those things. क्या sneak out मारा बे? क्या मैंने ऐसी attendance दे दिया? Hero. पर जब असल दुनिया में जाओगे, तो कोई औकात नहीं है. And the people, I remember, right? And I don't mean to sound mean when I say this. When I was doing my BCom in Goa, the people that were the heroes there, today they work at our companies. They're like down in the round. They're not heroes anymore because today they need to support their families, right? They can't be heroes no longer. That's the reality. Okay? So just when it comes to the right behaviors, sincerity versus not sincerity, huge difference between whether you go up the rank or not. Discipline versus no discipline, huge difference. Willpower versus not willpower, huge difference whether you'll make it to the top or not.